Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Pineapple Podcast, where it's all about being tough on the outside, sweet on the inside, and wearing your crown of gratitude proudly. Today, we have as our guest Cody Yeh. Now, the beautiful thing with Cody is I was actually a guest on his podcast, High Income Earners on Fire. And the beauty with Cody is he's all about being a true entrepreneur and following in the footsteps of multiple sources of income. So Cody is all about the real estate investor, the stock market, and looking for opportunities as they come forward. And he also gives back through his training program and his development program. Cody, welcome to the Pineapple Podcast.
Hey, Mitch. Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much for getting here. Cody, I really want to get into this now because the one thing is, why did you decide to become an entrepreneur? And then what are some of the things that, that went through your mindset as in terms of, okay, this is what I'm doing. I don't want the 9 to 5. I really want to be able to explode my experiences at such an amazingly young age.
Yeah, it's very interesting because the same question was asked by a CEO. I was on the phone last night, his business is grossing 250 million per year USD. He asked me the same question, Cody, why you did not continue your 9 to 5 job? So here's the answer. I did not make that decision. It's all of a sudden kind of like an accident. So there's no entrepreneur in my family. My
Right.
dad's a doctor. My mom is kind of a self-employee, insurance broker back in Taiwan. I grew up good at school, good at math, good at sports, so quite popular. And I had a good life. Is when I came to Canada at the age of 18, I have to face the hard truth of which university, which major I'm going to pick. And that time is when I faced the reality of what am I going to pick is going to determine the 10 years of my life from now.
Absolutely.
Then, my dad's a doctor. So I'm like, maybe I should think about medical. My dad's like, hey, there's no pressure. Ooh, okay. Thank God. Am I going to go to business? Most people go to business, either want to become an investment banker or they have a business to inherit. I don't have any of those. And inside of me, I'm thinking if I want to learn business, I can learn it on my own, but a specialized skill, a high income skill is more important. So long story short, I chose engineer because why? I don't want to write report. I
Right.
think I'm good at math. I think I can handle that. So I graduated from University of Toronto as a mechanical engineer, and I went about and worked at Honda, the car company, up in Alliston on the
Oh,
manufacturing side.
yeah.
And that's where I learned, like over the last 6 years before I quit in 2019, I handle projects, all combined together about 100 million. Right. So there's a lot of it is industrial project, not so much a residential or commercial, but I learned how to bring a project, how to raise capital from the upper management because they have their budget, right? How do we raise capital, fight for it, decision analysis, and bring it all the way through to actually completion. So we have to supervise all the contractor and make sure it work. If you fall short, you better stay late, stay on the weekend, figure it out. Right. So that's where I learned all that for 6 years. And that kind of set the tone for investing in real estate and really other stuff. Right. But kind of I wasn't content because when I was working as an engineer, yeah, I graduated with 62,000 salary, in case people don't know,
Right.
$29.32 per hour. And then I worked my way up,
Mhm.
but I really want to save up more down payment to buy my first house. So I was working a lot of overtime, 400 to 800 hours of overtime every day. So not every day, every year. And
Mhm.
I pay a marginal tax rate of 30 to 40%. At that time, I was trying to save up for my first property. I bought
Right.
one in 2016.
Yes.
Cool. And then I'm like, okay, what other ways can I make money? So that's why, well, since I started investing in stocks back in school in 2011, Boeing stocks, bank stocks, dividend, da da da, great. But I'm like, there's got to be more to that. So I was introduced to a friend whose friend was a day trading coach. So I start day trading at night. They're like, Cody, are
Right.
you crazy? I'm like, well, as a young gun, you're like, we want to prove ourselves. We could do
That's it.
this. We have discipline. We're engineer, right? And I
Yeah.
was doing that for 2 years at night because we're trading the Asian market. Because of a 12-hour difference, we could do it.
Right.
So
Right.
every day we go home, have dinner, read the news for 1 to 2 hours, trade for 1 to 2 hours, and write report based on screenshot, where I buy, where I sell, every single decision. Why do I make that decision? Is that part of my decision? Is that part of the strategy? Right. I lived through that for 2 years, and thank God I still have my fiance today. But
That's a good thing. Absolutely.
so that's where like I'm driven in that way. I just want more. And really the reason, come back to your question, is why am I eventually become an entrepreneur, is I don't see myself working 20 years, because I look at my partners at the company. Are they making great money? Debatable. 150 to 200K, maybe some stock option, but their life looks miserable. They come to the office at 5 a.m. and their phone is always on until 1 a.m. So that whole loop. And if the production
Wow.
line is down, they get called, and they're calculating every minute is this amount of money, right? So they're always stressful, always like big black circle. I'm like, holy cow, if I work really hard, if I get promoted,
Yes.
I'm the top of the top, I become that. And a lot of them has, heart attack, like at late 40s, early 50s, or like high blood pressure, all these problems, like divorce. Honda, or I know a lot of companies too, who people who work really hard has a lot of high divorce rate. And I'm just like, wow, it's everything I don't want in life. So I need to make some kind of change. Right.
Good.
So
Yeah.
so anyway, I moved to the mid management, moved back to North York. And one day I'm just like, I was managing 11 engineers before I really stopped working full time. And I was miserable because I make 10K, 20K more. I don't have to put in overtime. But every day I go to work, um, I don't feel I'm truly helping people. Maybe as a small business, I'm doing very productive work for them, but I truly don't make a difference anywhere in
Right.
my life or anywhere I feel like to the people I'm managing. So I'm like, you know what? I think there's more to it. I was 29 by the time I quit, 2019. So I'm 32 now. I'm like, if it's not now, it's never. So let's go for it. Let's quit, figure it out. And I started a YouTube channel, start personal coaching, and just figure out what I was doing great and how can I add value quickly. And that's where my YouTube channel really took off. We have like a video of 300,000 views of explaining my beginner strategy, and people just clicked to it because everyone was stuck at home during COVID. And that's
Right. Yeah.
pretty much, long
Absolutely.
story short. Yeah.
No, I love that sharing because this is what we want to capture. We want to capture the true stories. We really want to understand how do you make these life-changing decisions, and this is what it is. Because a few things that you shared in your story that I want to point out to people. When you look at the people who's in that workforce and they're doing a great job, and yeah, they're making money, probably more money than they even thought possible. But you are giving up time and you're giving up freedom in order to make that happen. Chances are that is what the belief system is in their world, that there's no other options or opportunities where you can get this kind of income. But the fact that you said that there was something inside of you knowing at you like there's got to be better, I love that. I think that's one of the first things we got to do. Follow the voice inside of you. Let it become your coach and not your critic, right? Because then you can start doing inspiring things. And the fact that it's happening at such a young age, or in your 20s, I think is absolutely brilliant because you've grown. But one thing I must say though, I admire this, is you're very observant in terms of what's around you and your future thinking at the same time while you're doing these stressful or very important jobs at the same time. So I love that in you, because your intuitive powers are actually quite strong for most people, and even for our viewers here. Like, you have intuitive powers, but you most of us dumb it down. You got to release it, because then you can do like what Cody does, which is take some action, make some changes, and then decide where you're going to go. Now, you've also shared that you've gone into the coaching space, and then some of the other development and investment space and things like that. But I also know that you're in the real estate space as well, right?
Mhm.
Tell us, how did the love of real estate come into part of your journey as you started to evolve your business?
Yeah, so we bought our first property with my mom. At that time, I saved up $37,000.
Yeah.
We bought the bungalow in Toronto together. At that time, my mom, came from Taiwan. Of course, back in Asia, we always followed major transportation. We always
Yes.
seen that before their subway or any LRT, major transportation, GO train equivalent,
Yep.
come before when they're doing construction. People hate it. because it's loud, it's dirty, it's ugly. People actually want to move out. And my
Right.
mom's saw so many times that every time after 5, 10 years, it double or triple amount because it's near the transportation. That's where the job is, where people want to live. So we did
Right.
the same thing. We bought a bungalow in Toronto, 2016, $526,347. I remember that because my mom come over. She believed in those superstitious number, talk to people. I'm like, okay, whatever. Put in the offer, 37,000. So we put 20% down. We buy it out, and today that house is sitting on the residential apartment zoning, so it could be built 8 to 10 stories high. At one point, I think 3 years ago, I was trying to assemble the land around it,
Mm.
but I found that the original developer is actually competing with me, and he already
Right.
have five, and I
Ah,
need eight. So I need eight. He already have five. I'm like, oh man, okay,
but the ambition is there, and I love that. Like,
yeah,
you know, a couple of things here. This is again intuition from your mom. It's like I've observed that transportation areas is where it goes high once the construction is done. That is a brilliant strategy because yes, transportation lines are important. Hospitals, schools, all of these things are really important. But brilliant on her to sort of get that feeling from day one. I love that.
yeah. Right now, that property's value about 1.8. The developers come in at 1.8. I know my mom won't let it go, but I'm like, I don't really care about the money. Just
Mhm.
do whatever you want with it because I bought my second property in 2017. We go on and bought two more. We convert two more legal duplex, and then this year we just complete a legal duplex in the back. We built the first ADU, additional dwelling unit, but it's actually just 1 square feet smaller than the legal duplex up front. And that will, up front is generating, 2,300 up, 1,800 down. Tenants pay all the utilities. And the back, the ADU is going to probably bring anywhere between 5,000 to 8,000, depending on his long term or more short term rental.
Right. So I want to touch on that ADU because as you can appreciate, it's now the exciting thing. Ford has just released Bill 23. People are excited about this. But
Mm-hmm.
the ADU is also a strategy and an investment that you really kind of have to understand and make sure that you're doing it the right way. I love the fact that you said it's 1 square feet smaller than the existing house. That is very
Well, they put
smart.
the stamp on it.
That's
Oh,
right. That
city put a stamp on it. I asked them, what do you mean by a square feet smaller? They're like, I don't know. I'm like, okay, you don't know, I don't know. Then okay, I'm gonna put two floors, both 1 square feet smaller on each floor. And they put a stamp on it. I'm like, okay, cool. We
Thank
built it.
you very much. That's right. Thank you very much. So you literally have almost basically two bungalows. Brilliant. Good on you because that is what is happening now. And everybody's, sort of scrambling, trying to figure it out. I actually have a friend of mine who's actually patenting, he's an architect, he's patenting his own ADU design as well.
Mm-hmm.
With some strategic elements so that it can be deployed quite quickly. So
Mm-hmm.
this is going to become a big thing, especially in Canada, especially in Ontario, especially in Toronto. But across
Mm-hmm.
the province, we're seeing more and more of it. The fact
Mm-hmm.
that you've done it already, I love it. And the fact that you're working on this bigger one is absolutely brilliant because I think we can share a little bit. If it's okay with you, tell us like the experience and the idea you had around it, and how did you actually go about getting it to the point where the city approved it for you? Top line, not too much details, just to give people a sense of how it's possible.
No, I don't mind sharing details.
Perfect.
We bought it March 2022. Best timing ever. Highest overbid. Everything. It
Yes.
was a crack hat house on a legal duplex. I
Ah,
bought a sight unseen.
right.
Um, I know the market could have come down, but we have an ADU in mind. So I know in the long term, okay, cash flow will definitely carry it. So we just went ahead with it. Of course, the market softened, probably dropped 20, 30% in that area. Um, and at that point, we're just trying to finish legal duplex as fast as possible. But
Right.
it was the longest legal duplex ever because at that time it's hard to find good contractor because the
Right.
market was so hot. I have to make a decision whether I want to wait 3 to 6 months for a good contractor or I know I'm going to get gouged, but I'm going to pay a little bit more for local people, nearby neighbor, and just get it over with. But, it took the longest ever. It took me like Like usually 4 to 6 months for a legal duplex. This one took me 8 months to 11
8
months.
months. Okay.
It's of course we need to do a bit more work. And
Right.
our ADU is almost 80% done while our legal duplex just rent out the basement. I'm laughing so hard at this whole thing. So it's kind of give and take, right? ADU was so
Yes.
successful. We break ground in October. Now we're putting in the kitchen this
Okay.
week.
Okay.
And meanwhile, my legal duplex just got rented out. I'm like, how do I compare that? I have no idea. One
Right.
is
Fair
built
enough.
brand new house, which is the renovation. But
Yeah.
that's just small picture. If I take a step back, cash flow is gonna come in about $10,000 per month, right? Gross, right? My
Right.
mortgage even after the high interest rate, 5, 6, whatever. But tenants pay all the utilities, all that. I'm still cash flowing 3, 4, 5,000. If I want to go like hardcore short term, I can cash flow more. So I'm not too worried about that. And I have a brand new house. If I want to have a family, that's where my fiance Claudia and I are gonna move in to that new bungalow in the back. We're not
Beautiful.
bothered by any neighbors. We're in the middle of everyone's backyard. We have our own backyard, a parking lot 5 parallel right in the middle. So
Oh, nice. Absolutely. So, as you can appreciate, everybody's always curious about what is the per square foot cost, or what is the cost of an ADU now? Because even in our space where I talk to so many investors as well, they're getting so many different
yeah,
quotations. The fact that you've done it, kind of like, if you share what
yeah.
was your per square foot cost or your cost to build this ADU?
I'm actually doing the math right now. It's about $235 per square feet.
Ah,
So I'm basically, that's say right now up to this point spending about 380,000. I always give 10%, 20% buffer. I have a really good GC. I'm like, how much
right.
are we gonna go over? Like every time a draw come in, I'm like, where are we at? What's the percentage? What do you think? Right. We I look through everything, right? We break down by time and material and I go through it because I was a project manager. I really appreciate the A-type personality. And
Yes.
I think we're gonna be right on budget. We're a little bit over. So that's call it for 2450. 450,000 divided by 850 square feet per floor. So 1,700. Yeah. Like
Nice.
235, 250. So it's nothing crazy. But if you don't know what you're doing, it could be really crazy. And just because of time and cost. And plus, I didn't calculate my soft landing cost because this is not with investor, right? So I don't have stress on that. So like, oh my God, the property's down, the price
Right.
is down. I don't have any of those stress, and I will never do that in my first property with any investor. I will do it on my own, make sure I know everything inside out, permitting, city, contractor, figure out the whole framework, even if I will ever consider raising capital, right?
Absolutely. And the other thing is value is always there in one of the most premium markets in the country. So that to me is great. And then in terms of actually working with the city, how long did it actually take you to get the approval so you could start the construction?
Yeah, the city was not too bad. City of Clarington. We submit. I have a architect. We submit. The drawings. To be honest, the city doesn't know what they're doing. This is before Bill C-23. We were the first one. We started building before C-23. So
Right,
Clarington opened up January 2022. We're the first
right.
batch to went through it, the braver one. Usually I don't like that, but I'm like, you know what?
You're doing it.
That's fine. That's fine. Um,
Yeah.
so we started applying, I think around like March timing, a lot of back and forth with architect. We finally submitted in May. We got the permit firm in my hand in July. The
Oh,
ADU.
incredible.
It's not bad.
That is
And of course, I was
incredible.
on top of it, right? I have a good
Yeah,
architect. I'm on top of it. I figure out all the flow, making sure everything makes sense for the city, but the city don't have this stuff together. I'm sorry if anyone's from the city listening. You guys are kicking me like a soccer ball, right? Planning
right.
kicked me to building, building kicked me to engineer, engineer kicked me to water. They never had to figure out, but they put a stamp on it. So
Absolutely.
give
And
and
that's
take, give and
that's
take.
a reality. You talk to pretty much everybody who's into the building space. I mean, that's the complaint, right? It's not an offense to anyone. Maybe it's a system thing, it's a process thing. Who knows? Or maybe, as you rightly say, they're not clear on how things are going to move going
No,
forward,
no,
right?
yeah,
So,
yeah,
so absolutely. So that's brilliant. So the ADU is pretty much there. It's literally two houses on one property, which
yeah.
is absolutely a great gold mine. And to our viewers as well, guys, this is the power in ADU. But more importantly, this is the power in a critical eye to understand what you are buying and how you can best optimize it, right? Perfect example of it. And then do it. Like, don't just sit on it, do it, bring it together. There's creative ways of funding it. But you said that this particular project you funded on your own,
Yeah,
correct?
we funded my fiance. Just
Right.
yeah, we funded ourselves because I know it's expensive. Number don't work as well as an investment, but it's kind of like our home if we're gonna have a family. That was my excuse, or that was really back of my mind, right? Because right now we live in a condo, really enjoy it. 1,000 square feet condo in the middle of Toronto, like you can't get this, right?
That's
So I love my lifestyle, and as a lifestyle play, right? I can make more money from investment, fund where I rent. I would choose a lifestyle anytime because I have the freedom, right? So
absolutely. And I want to touch on that as well because we often talk about lifestyle. I want the lifestyle freedom. But you're there now. And you did it in quite a short space of time, you know. So congratulations on that. But tell us what does lifestyle mean to you? Like what is the dream that you're living and how does it inspire you daily?
I'm actually living it. Not to be cliche, but I'm living it. I am like probably people who are listening to this already realize I'm quite a driven person. I don't enjoy sitting on the beach doing nothing. It'll drive me nuts. But
Right.
what I enjoy is working 3 to 4 hours per day. And then the whole afternoon, nighttime is mine. So this is actually what I'm doing. Every morning I wake up, do my whole cold shower routine, a little bit of yoga, some workout. I go right into work at noon. If I'm traveling, I'm not going to do anything after that, right? Technically, because I have a huge team, I want to say huge team, but 6 8 people supporting that. And
Wow.
I was able to do that. So now a lot of my time is on the coaching business for stock option. I know you want to talk about it later.
Yep.
Real estate, so I don't have anyone full time or property management. I have GC, and I think that's good enough. I don't want to carry the T4 to have the stress to always flip properties. And
Right.
then on the other arm is I spent a lot more time on the charity side of things, right? So I just had two people on my podcast. One is the ER director for Mount Sinai. They're raising an endowment, a $3 million for a chair to lead the mental illness and addiction research because they found that a lot of people who come to ER has mental or addiction problem, but
Yes.
they have no choice but to just let them go again and knowing that they will come back.
Right.
And they have seen bank executive, seen a lot of people with broken family, and even the ER director, his own dad.
Wow.
He passed away in Salvation Army when he last saw him, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm spending like 10 to 20% of my effort and time on the charity side. And eventually is to I always look at impact, right? How's the most highest and best use of my time? Can I volunteer at a local shelter or providing food? Yes, I can. But the most impact is my following, my network, and my strategic and my drive and execution skills. So I
Right.
use that to the maximum, and I know eventually I will sit on one of the Mount Sinai board and to make decision for them or raise capital for them, right? And I think that works really well with my goal, and with my lifestyle freedom and just the purpose of life.
Absolutely. I absolutely love that. You know, when you can give back in such a significant way, that's huge because people are going to support that. We all live these problems. We all have people and in our life that are affected by this. Mental health is critical. And that's part of coaching. Like what the value we bring to help people get clarity, get unstuck, figure out their day, feel, inspired versus feeling sort of uh, how do you say, getting unstuck. That
Mm-hmm.
to me really brings value to somebody's lives. And that's what it's about. It's the journey. It's really not getting to the end. It's really doing things in your life as you move along that impacts people. I think there's no better sort of satisfaction. It really lights you up when you can help somebody achieve financial freedom, get clarity of life. In this case as well, help them with their mental disabilities because it is affecting everybody, you know. So I absolutely love that. But like you rightly said, I also want to understand in the true spirit of being an entrepreneur, it's all about multiple sources of income. And you've also went ahead and sort of developed a footprint on the stock market side. So now we know
Mm-hmm.
you have the real estate, you understand that, you're enjoying that, you're
Mm-hmm.
doing the charity piece, and the other piece now is this stock market side of it, which it's an area where a lot of people are still trying to figure out, still want to learn, still want to understand. Well, what exactly is the opportunity and how do you optimize? So if you could share with us some tips
Yeah.
and insights in terms of how does it look like for you and how can it benefit other people?
Yeah. So I started in 2011 investing in boring stocks, making 3% dividend, some appreciation, nothing crazy. And I went to day trading, figured out that, hey, the return on the investment, return on the time and the stress is not worth it, right? If I make the same amount, I put in 8 hours of time every day or 6 hours of time, and the stress, I can't do this long term, not worth it. That's why we come up with our said and done strategy. And I'm actually a guest speaker for TD Direct Investing last June. And because
Beautiful.
we have a good
Mm,
impact and all that, they want me back. Last time, the bank usually want you to go through all the compliance. So we went through like 5 meetings, the typical corporate thing. They record compliance. That this time around, they're like, Cody, you clear all that. This time we're going to do it live. I'm like, cool,
nice.
thank God. Otherwise, I won't be back. And
Yeah.
then we're gonna do it again in June, right? Sorry, in May the 9th, 6 p.m. It'll all come out throughout my social media. But the whole point is that there's an institutional backing, and there's a lot of people out there are searching for cash flow, especially real estate investors searching for cash flow. Most of my students are real estate investor with the high interest rates, even harder. And to be very honest, I love real estate. I make a lot of money through real estate, but it's not through cash flow. Cash flow is there to maintain the property at the highest standard to attract the right tenant. And anytime there's a turnover, I have the buffer to renovate the house, period. I make
That's
money
right.
on the mortgage pay down and the appreciation because it's leverage 3 to 5 times.
Correct. Absolutely.
Yes. So that we set the baseline. How my send down strategy is helping people is that we're getting 1.5 to 4.5% per month. Now you're like, Cody, you're crazy. You're
Mm,
crazy. Per
yeah.
year is like
For month.
18% to
Absolutely.
54% per year. What are you talking about? That's way more than promissory notes, private lending, da da da. And that's why I show one of my life account. I put it in, I can run it for 10 years. I've been running since last September. I show it every month.
Yeah.
Life account, if it goes up, if it go down. So far, we're hitting like 14% for the last
Right.
since September. So it's almost someone's private lending for a whole year. Now, the key thing for that is I don't want to find someone a second job, right? So we put it together a system as an engineering brain. I love efficiency. I don't want to waste anyone's time. So all the people I'm attracting is high achievers, right? People always like, Cody, I need more time back so I can spend more time with my family, right? So I teach them an entire system and I use the real estate term to teach them too, right?
Nice.
Then now once they learn it, they only need to spend 30 minutes per week because we have our coaching, reading news, daily newsletter, da da da, make the prediction, make the calculation, all that. And yeah, I spend a lot less time to make that money and get the time back, right? That's really the whole point of this arm of business. And, a lot of time I attract a lot of like-minded people, become friends. They like it, and they're all say, Cody, if you have other real estate project going on, let us know. Right. So it's a good karma and it's just a good thing. And I enjoy it. I have like 2 coaches. I have a team of 6. So I really try to pull myself out and focus on the charity side, real estate side, and make sure the strategy continue to work. And I'm, kind of like the main guy that I keep pushing for, but I have a whole team doing all the heavy lifting. Right.
Nice, absolutely. So that is the best way to scale business. Again, for our viewers, it's always about the who, not the how. And when you build a team of people, it leaves you free to work on the business so that people can move the business forward, right? Everybody has a core strength, and when you combine it that way, this is what can happen. So the fact that I love the fact that you said most of your people are real estate investors because
Mhm,
you're right. The challenge in real estate is always the cash flow.
mhm,
People want to retire. People want to get out of their 9 to 5s. They know that there's equity building in the real estate. They know that you get principal pay down. There's so much opportunities in real estate, but the challenging one is cash flow. So
mhm.
how do people kind of get in touch with you? Is it you train them how to go and invest on their own, or is it like we come into Cody's program and Cody's got this thing running and we invest the money through Cody? What does
I
the
mean,
program look
I
like?
mean, there's a different regulation if you want to invest with me, right? That's something called a fund. which we will, we are in the process of creating one. But the
Right.
whole point right now is to get enough momentum. Let's say someday there's 20 people line up, each of them want to give me $500,000 to $1 million, then that's the point where it's worth it to open a fund. Otherwise, I'll just keep doing this until I get that momentum. I don't want to open it and start raising capital and all that. Right.
Right.
So the whole point right now is do it with you. Now, when I say do it with you, I mean it's like hand holding, right? We hold you accountable. We have welcome calls with my coach, right? And then every month we have a call. We want you to win, because when you win, you will be happy, you make money, more likely you'll stay longer, give us a testimonial, and da da da. So we want you to win. We only measure success if you win, if you make money, right? But at the same time, we have to make sure the human nature of things, when real estate investor come is like, Cody, this is very passive. This is very consistent, right? This is very boring, right? I'm like, no, sometimes the market can slap you in the face,
That's
but
right.
a strategy works. So you have to stick to the strategy. Sometimes you might be like, Cody, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. But if you're taught that way, I always told people, right? If you're going to make a cowboy move or like irritated about it, think about what's Cody standing behind you looking at your phone. If you're going to make that trade, think about what Cody would think about, right? That's kind of
Right.
the thing I kind of teach them.
Yeah.
What Cody would say if you make that trade, right? And I say to myself the same thing. If I make this trade, what will all my students think about? Because I share all my trades. So
Right.
that's people holding people accountable. The transparency, right? It's a real account, right? So, that's where I get a lot of trust and all that. I just start sharing on Instagram because I see a lot of people don't actually share their life account. I'm like, you know what? There's so many noise out there. Hard to see what's real, what's not, and I just share it, right? And I'll be on the guest speakers for TD Direct Investing, right? So I think that speaks a lot as well.
That's huge. That's quite a milestone, and congratulations on that. And I love the fact that you're sharing, the fact of success and accountability to get there. Because it's funny that I'm in the same mind frame as well, because I actually launched my business planning and development program, and that's the exact philosophy is we hold you accountable to your plan so that you will have the success is there. But I think when you get into community and you get into a support system and you find the right coach that is really dedicated to ensuring that you can achieve the things you want to achieve, it's life changing, right? So the accountability piece to me is the most important because I feel like that's the biggest gap in a lot of programs out there. The fact that you're doing it means that you're now in the 98 to 100% uh,
Yeah.
percentile of success. Think
Yeah.
about that. That's huge, right? So,
Yeah.
so good on you. I love this because again, you are bringing value based on your past experiences and you're connecting it to people that have a need to continue to grow and develop.
Mm-hmm.
So part of that too, I know you said you have your coaching area or department as well. So if people wanted to get in touch with you, Cody, like what's the best way to find you?
Yeah, I like to send people to where I actually add value. I can send you to my website. Yeah, of course, you want to book a call, no problem, fill the application. But I really want to send people to my YouTube channel where I
Right.
consistently post one short video across all my social media, right? About finance, about mindset, about business, about real estate, about stock option investing. Anything that helped me in my life to get to this point. And a lot of time I hang out with a lot more mature people. So they're way ahead of me. They teach me stuff. They're like, Cody, if I was your age, I'll do that. I'm like, okay, cool. And so I get a lot of that. So just go to my Instagram. If you're on Instagram, if you're on Facebook, I post a daily post, a daily short form video, and I have some webinar like recorded where there's a lot of people attend about our send down strategy. So if you want that, just DM me. I'll send you that as well.
Beautiful. And for our viewers as well, guys, I will put his information in the comments below so you have access to Cody as well if you want to understand how to create multiple streams of income as you journey into your entrepreneurship. So, Cody, once again, on behalf of the Pineapple Podcast, man, thank you so much for showing up and giving us so much insights and so much knowledge. I absolutely love our session today, man. It's been brilliant. Always great to get another point of view, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks for having me, Mitch.
Oh, you're most welcome. So, any parting words to our viewers before we call it goodbye?
I think everyone's takeaway is different, right? A lot of people say take action, take action. You got to be careful, but take the action that just make you a little bit uncomfortable every day, and eventually it will be a big action. It's not one big thing. It's doing something different, something push yourself a little bit more every day. And a year from now, I look back at myself, my first YouTube video, I'm laughing at myself. I couldn't talk like this, right? I'm looking at a freaking camera, I talk like
Yeah,
this. I couldn't do that. But it's because of
nice.
so many repetition that
That's it.
you believe yourself you can do it. And I keep improving every day, working long hours. And here I am in 3 years. People are like, Cody, you're very lucky you're born with it. I'm like, yeah, cool. No, I don't. Like I scramble hard for the last 3 years and to live the life I want now and continue to have a balance and continue to grow, right? So just being better every day and whatever that action means to you, right?
Absolutely. I absolutely love that. And to our folks, again, guys, thank you so much. Remember to hit the like, subscribe button and the notification bell. And please invite a friend to have a look at our YouTube channel as well, because again, you get so much knowledge from here. It's all about giving back, okay? And at the Pineapple Podcast, it's about being tough on the outside, sweet on the inside, and wearing your crown of gratitude proudly. Bye, everybody. Have a great day.
Have a good one.